Well, welcome everyone. In today's webinar, Social Media Bootcamp, you'll learn how to leverage social media to grow your business. I'm Dixie, my co-host is Katrine, and we're from Easy Marketing. We have a lot of great information for you today, so we're gonna be speeding through it, but we do hope to make it as interactive as possible, so we encourage you to ask questions in the box. We'll get to as many of those as we can, but if we miss yours or if you think of something later, here's our contact information. We would love to hear from you. We answer every single one. And we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post monthly videos similar to this one on helpful marketing topics for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits. Easy Marketing is celebrating 21 years in business. We're located in Northeast Florida with clients throughout the US and abroad, and we specialize in website design, email marketing, social media that we're going to talk about today, and graphic design. And our clients range from local upstarts to international green energy companies. So we're really glad to have you with us today. So let's get to it. As a small business or entrepreneur, maybe a nonprofit, social media can be daunting. You have to figure out where to be, how to be engaging, and how to get results, all with a limited amount of time and resources. Today, we aim to provide a recipe for success that gives you direction, is going to help you save time, and then ultimately get results to grow your business. So today we'll cover choosing the right networks for your business, gaining followers, planning and scheduling your post in advance, that's a big time saver, and my favorite, using hashtags.
So I know we have more people that just joined. So choosing the right social network is the first thing coming up. So please, in the question box there, put what industry you're in.
Yes, that would be really helpful. We'll try to give some examples as we go, and if we kind of know what industry, we can help tailor it to the audience we have today. So kicking us off, one of the common questions we get is, do I need to be on every social media platform? There are so many and new ones all the time. And the answer is no, do not try to be everywhere. If you're just getting started, we recommend choosing one, maybe two platforms to really focus your efforts. That way you can figure out what works, what doesn't, and adjust your strategy to get results moving forward. So the question then is, if we're only going to be on one or two, how do you choose which platforms are right for your business? And the answer is going to be different for each of you joining us today. So we'll give you some important decision points. And important factors that we think are what industry you're in. So let us know in the chat box who your target audience is. And by that, I mean your best customers. Certainly you might sell your products or services to anybody that will buy them, but think about your best customer. The types of content that you are able to deliver, such as pictures or video, and your current expertise level. So we're going to look at some of the top social media channels in turn. And as we do, we want you to think about these factors, particularly the demographics of your audience, and evaluate which of these social media channels might be right for you. So first up is Facebook. It's the juggernaut, the OG, with nearly 3 billion users averaging an hour of interaction every day. It's still the most used and most engaged with platform. So for many small to medium-sized businesses, this is their social media home base, if you will. So if you're selling goods or services, any of you, you can reach and engage with a large group of potential customers through Facebook. I would say if you only have the bandwidth to tackle one platform, Facebook is going to be your best bet for all but the youngest of audiences. And if you are targeting boomers with money to spend, Facebook is definitely where you want to be. So in terms of industries, it's ideal for local brick and mortars, service companies, and nonprofits. It's a great starter platform because it's fairly easy to use and lends itself well to a variety of content, including images, videos, and clickable links. That being said, hashtags are probably the least effective on Facebook, and we'll be talking about those later. So it can take a bit of time to grow your audience on Facebook organically. So if you're in a situation where you need to gain subscribers fast, you might be better off with Instagram or using the two together.
Yeah, and everyone that answered on the question today, what industry you're in, Facebook is for you. The only place where Facebook might not be for you is where you are business to business on a very technical level. Like if you're doing headhunting, and if you're working just with CEOs and so on. Those are the companies that only need LinkedIn and Twitter.
Exactly. Like if you're not working with the general public, if you're only selling to other big companies and that sort of thing, you might not necessarily need to be on Facebook. So speaking of Instagram, its cousin, with its steady growth and 2 billion users per month, Instagram is another important platform to consider, but it's not for everyone. Instagram is considered a mobile-first platform, and that means it's designed primarily for sharing pictures and videos from a little cell phone. The audience on Instagram is relatively young, with the highest concentration in the 13 through 29 bracket. So if your business is trying to reach millennials or younger, then you should give Instagram serious consideration. Many people under 30 are not on Facebook, possibly never going to be on Facebook. Also consider your industry. Instagram is a highly visual platform, so that makes it ideal for organizations with a visual story to tell. So think about bakeries, coffee shops, art museums, independent retailers, hair salons. Not so great for morticians, but perfect for travel agents, if you know what I mean. You want a visual story to tell. Oftentimes there are cases where you have both a primary and a secondary audience. So this is typically where one person is making purchases on behalf of another. And that's a great case for using multiple platforms. So we'll give you an example. We had a client we work with that was a regional youth sports program. And in that case, we use Instagram to reach the tween and teenage athletes because they're not on Facebook, they're only on Insta. And then Facebook also to reach the literal soccer moms in their 30s and 40s who are going to be the ones ultimately to sign them up. The good news is that Facebook and Instagram are both owned by Meta, so it's very easy to post content across the two of them. They work very well together. The one platform you might be using personally, but maybe hadn't considered for your business is LinkedIn, which is a professionally driven social network. So unlike the other platforms, networks here are based on who and what you know rather than personal interest. In terms of audience, it's most popular with well-educated, high-income earners of both sexes. The largest age group is like the 46 to 55 crowd, but millennials do make up a quarter of users. So we think of it as education over age in terms of demographics on LinkedIn. This is a platform where you want to establish your expertise in your industry. So not so much direct selling of products and services, but great for networking and lead generation. So for that reason, it's extremely successful with B2B, business to business companies, but something also to consider if you're a service-based company, a nonprofit, or in, say, high-end goods. Another platform to consider in your strategy is X, formerly known as Twitter. The audience on X skews a little younger than Facebook, a little more male, and somewhat better educated. Twitter, unlike the others, is a very fast-moving, real-time, often news-driven platform. So we see a lot of retailers and nonprofits doing well with X because it's engaging and you don't need a ton of graphics or beautiful photography. It also requires a relatively low level of expertise. We usually tell our customers if politicians can do it, so can you. But what it does take is a higher level of commitment. And the reason for that is customers are often going to X for customer service needs. So if you're going to try this platform, you need to prepare to be engaged and to respond to customers quickly. You cannot let days or sometimes even hours go by without being responsive. So if you're willing to put in the commitment, X is a great place to be brief, often to be witty, and definitely to have a high level of interaction with customers. And there are so many other platforms we could be talking about, literally dozens, but we'll briefly touch on two that are amazing for certain industries. Pinterest is one that is kind of a specialty niche. Like Instagram, it's highly visual, and arguably the most product focused. So if you have a product, this might be the place for you. It has a very heavy female audience, like around 80% female. So if you're selling products and services to women, Pinterest is definitely a consideration. So think hair salons, makeup, interior design, wedding industry, travel, photography, anything to do with food, any businesses that focus on design, creation, or making are all perfect for Pinterest. YouTube is another great platform. This is where people are actively going to look and find stuff. So with more than 1 billion hours of videos watched every day, 1 billion a day. And people are there not just watching funny cat videos to be informed and entertained, but also to help them make purchasing decisions. Over 90% say they have learned about a new brand or product on YouTube. So it's really ideal for demonstrative videos, things like product demos or how-tos. For most of our customers and for most small businesses, it's not their only channel, but is a great supplement to, say, Facebook, for example, to help bring in a new audience and also to provide value, because you can do things like troubleshooting videos or tips on how to get the most out of your service or product. And those are a great value to your current audience. I'm also going to touch on two that are super important to a younger demographic. So if that's for your industry, pay attention to these two. Snapchat has experienced significant growth over the past couple of years. So this is definitely one to watch. It's the #1 choice of teens, and it captures more than 1/3 of the market. So even if you are not actively on Snapchat, it also is a great place for trend spotting for your industry because it has that very young demographic. And then there's TikTok. It's 100 million users prove that the platform's here to stay. It's not a trend. And that user base there is absolutely dedicated. They rack up like 20 hours of watch time a month. So if you are targeting Gen Z, so like the 12 to 26 crowd, then you definitely want to give these two serious consideration. And finally, we want to think about the time and the energy that you and your organization have to devote to social media. So I have a few examples here on the screen from one of our clients who is an executive recruiter. And this is just to demonstrate that our posts across different social media channels have a cohesive look and feel. We're using the same logo and colors and that kind of thing, but we're often posting different content on different platforms, and each is going to need a unique caption and a unique hashtag strategy. So keep that in mind, that you're not going to be successful if you're taking the same content and trying to kind of slap it up in 4 different places. They're going to be time and effort spent in making it unique to that channel. So the bottom line is, don't feel like you have to be everywhere. We strongly recommend choosing the 1 or 2 platforms that are most targeted to your industry and your demographics, and really focus your effort there. That way you can figure out what works, what doesn't, and then adjust your strategy moving forward. So once you've decided on the right platform or 2, the next step is growing your following. If you're spending time, posting and tweeting and no one's out there listening, you're kind of speaking into the abyss and not effectively growing your business. So first, I want you to give your accounts a good self-check, okay? Go back, look at them through fresh eyes, maybe ask your customers, employees, colleagues to give it a fresh look. Users have to go to your profile in order to follow you. So it is essential that the profile part of your page is optimized. You want a name that's search friendly. You want to make sure that your profile image is high quality and easily recognizable. So this is typically going to be either or a round or square version of your logo. Unless you're an influencer or maybe like a real estate agent, we typically don't encourage you to use a picture of your face, but rather, the logo for your business. Make sure that your bio makes a great first impression. On Instagram, for example, you only get 150 characters in the bio, so it really has to be succinct and impactful. You're going to tell people what you do and why you're the best. And make sure that people can find you online and on land. And if you're not sure what makes a good profile, go and look at your competitors, check those out, and even check out the big brands in your industry for inspiration on what makes a nice, succinct, impactful profile. Once you have that optimized, you want to make sure that you are cross-promoting your social media accounts. This is a free and easy way to use the tools that you already have at your disposal to help grow your following. So make it easy for people to follow you by having links to your socials on your website, have links on your blog, even in your email signature. If you're sending out an email from Outlook or Gmail, at the bottom say, follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Facebook. These are sort of passive ways that you can cross-promote your social media. But you also want to actively ask your customers and leads and volunteers and donors and everybody that you work with. So for example, ask your LinkedIn connections to follow you on Instagram and vice versa. If you are a brick and mortar, you can put up a sign with a QR code right by the checkout and then train your employees to mention it. If you're a nonprofit, put up a banner at your fundraising events and then add it to your talking points for your speaker. And if you're using email marketing, which we highly encourage, you should definitely include a blurb at the bottom asking those contacts to also follow you on social media. And of course, the best way to attract followers is just by posting high quality content. Remember that most social media platforms are highly visual and that majority of people are going to be viewing content on their tiny cell phones. So they have those small screens. So you need those posts to be bold and eye-catching. To gain followers, your page also has to be active. That means you're posting consistently. We recommend aim for at least 3 times a week. And make sure that your content provides value for the followers. So in addition to posting about your products and services and special offers, you're also going to mix in inspirational quotes, behind the scenes photos of what's going on in your business, and how-to videos are really helpful. We encourage you not to think of your social media as like a sales circular where you're just pushing out the information you want people to see, but more as a resource for current and potential customers. So see it through the eye of the potential customer that you want to have and put out content that would be useful to them, something they would bookmark for later or share with a friend. You can also look for opportunities to join in the broader discussion. So you can piggyback on current events. Maybe you have something to say about what's going on in the Middle East. Maybe it's trending hashtags, or even internet holidays. And finally, be sure to post when your followers are online, which is not at 2 a.m. when I do my best work. And we'll touch on how to schedule posts in advance in just a minute. But first, we're going to have Katrine talk about the planning process and planning to be successful. Katrine? Oh, Katrine, I think you're on mute.
Well, there we are. We do. Somehow they come and cut the grass outside right when we are in session here. But so the most important part is that you actually have a plan. Just don't get those and get to it when you think you have time. It is important that you have an intention and know what the goals are, because that's how you can make things really efficient. So if we go to next slides, we have 3 different steps here. First, you're going to look at your focus area. And that is what we call an editorial calendar. I'm going to show you what that can look like in just a minute. And after that, you break that down to a monthly calendar where you look at the content for that specific calendar and then the scheduling of posts. So let's take a look. I am on the slide before then. Yes, there we are. Thank you. Because we're talking about the full year, and it all depends on what industry you're in. So you need to take a look. For this Health Institute, for example, they are piggybacking on national months of health. So for example, February is Heart Health Month. So we just put that in there, and then all depending on where you are, you might be dependent on national holidays or special events. So that's something in here. You might have sales at this special kind of year. So that's the first thing. You just look at that for a year, and then we start to break it down. We have clients where we run all their social media, and we start with the yearly one, and then once a month we have meetings with our client, and we go over and take a look at, I'm on slide 2 now. Yes. Where we take a look at where we're going to put out the content. So many of our clients are on several different platforms. So we start by putting out anything that's time sensitive. It could be a deadline, it could be a sale, it could be an event. We put those out. If we're sending out newsletters, but if we're sending out more than one newsletter, one email, we put those in here. And then we sprinkle everything out with what we call evergreen content. That is content that is not depending on a specific day or time. It might be shots from your office or about your products. It could be highlight of some employees or some clients, whatever, but it really doesn't matter what day. And what you end up with is a nice content calendar. And when you have done that planning, which usually doesn't need to take more than 10 minutes, honestly, because you already know what you're going to focus on. We go down to the next slide, and that is the time to actually create that. So most of the content you do in one sitting, usually together with step 2 when you do the planning. You start to create all of those posts. If you're on several different platforms, the message might be the same, but it might look different. Different images, different cutting on images, different videos. And here you can go in, and if you are only using Instagram and Facebook, you can use the Meta Business Suite because that's where you can go in and actually schedule them. If you're using Constant Contact, they have an excellent tool that both schedule emails and social media posts. And then there are other paid ones, Buffer, Hootsuite, and here we are using Social Pilot. And it's especially useful if you, like us, are running 20 different accounts, I think. So yeah, we can run all of them in one place, and we can go in and see what's happening and reply to replies to those social media posts. So again, if you have that set the yearly, monthly, and then you sit down and do the creation, and we highly recommend using Canva for a lot of the images you need in there. We do have special training just in Canva as well.
Thank you, Katrine. And finally, my favorite topic, hashtags. So think of these as the card catalogs of the digital age, the way that we group and identify content. A hashtag is a word or phrase preceded by the pound symbol. It was first used in 2007 by a guy who suggested that Twitter users employ it as a way to group related tweets together. And this is the first ever tweet, by the way. On social media, as it serves as an indication both for users and the algorithm that a piece of content relates to a specific topic. And the magic of hashtags is that they make your content discoverable, which helps you reach more people, and that they're effective on a variety of social media platforms. So let's start with some hashtag basics. They always start with the pound symbol. You can use any combination of letters, words, or numbers, but they do not work if you use spaces, punctuation, or symbols. Hashtags are not case sensitive, so lower uppercase, they work exactly the same. And note that hashtags are different from tagging another person or account, which that's done using the @ symbol. So for this post you see here as an example, we use the hashtag breast cancer awareness to tell the algorithm to group it with related posts about that topic. So anyone who might be following that hashtag is going to see your post whether or not they were following your specific business. If we had been working with another group, say the National Breast Cancer Foundation, we also could have used the @ symbol to tag that group's Facebook page. So hashtags, tagging, two different things, but they can be used together. There are a lot of reasons to use hashtags, but we're going to focus now on the one that you're most likely interested in, which is connecting with new followers. So as I mentioned, on social media, users can not only follow a page or a group or a person or a business, but they can follow specific hashtags as well. That way they can get all the information on that topic they're interested in. So you could follow hashtag Taylor Swift, and then you wouldn't just get information from her, but from everybody who's talking about her. So let's look at an example. One of our clients, Waves for Power, produces green energy for from ocean waves. And you might not be following them on Instagram. It's fine, we won't hold it against you. But if you were someone who was interested in renewable energy, you could follow the hashtag green energy or hashtag clean energy. And then you might have seen this post on your feed. And in that way, introducing this organization to fresh new eyes. So using hashtags is a great way to organically expand your reach without having to constantly invest advertising dollars.
And
So
if you're brand new to this hashtags, because I know many are, just open up your Instagram and just put down one hashtag. Look at one of the areas or people or companies you're following, and look at one of those hashtags, and then subscribe. Is it called subscribe?
Yeah.
Yeah, subscribe to that hashtag and keep an eye on the feed in your Instagram and even Facebook the next few days and see how that is, what is coming up. And then you get a better idea how hashtags work and how you can use it.
Great suggestion. Also great for, keeping an eye on competitors and news in your industry. So you're going to have a branded hashtag, one that you use consistently for your organization. So ours is hashtag easy marketing, but you also want to make use of related hashtags, things that have to do with your industry, your location, your products, those sorts of things. So let's give you an example. Let's say that you're in the wedding industry, and so you decide you're going to use hashtag wedding for your posts. Makes total sense. Hashtag wedding has over 214 million posts on Instagram. So that's very popular. And obviously you'd love to have some of those millions of people discover you. But because it's so popular, new posts with that hashtag are being made every second. So that makes yours less likely to get noticed. It's sort of a high reward, low probability situation. So we suggest using a combination of both these popular hashtags and more targeted one. So maybe think about what subsector of the industry you're in. Maybe you're a bakery specializing in wedding cakes, in which case you might use hashtag wedding cakes. This one only has 1.5 billion posts. So again, not too shabby, but you're not going to get lost in a sea of other wedding things, planners and photographers and venues and gown shops who don't offer your unique services. Then you can think a little bit more local, right? Something like hashtag Seattle wedding cakes, which only has 3,000 posts. It's a tiny fraction compared to the people who follow #wedding, but it's a targeted audience that is likely to need and want the things that you provide. So then when you post pictures of your beautiful wedding cakes on social media, if you use both a popular hashtag like #wedding and something more targeted like Seattle wedding cakes, then you're giving your business the opportunity both to be discovered by a wide audience and also to reach a smaller, more targeted group specifically tailored to what you offer. So with that in mind, I know you're thinking, how do I find these hashtags? Is there a list somewhere? Do I just make them up? And to find hashtags that are relevant to your brand, your industry, and your audience, you're going to have to do a little bit of research. The best place, as Katrine said, is to follow some hashtags and start by monitoring your competitors. Make note of what hashtags that they're using in their post and most often. Then you want to explore hashtag recommendations. So social media channels are getting much better about this. If you start to type in one hashtag, it's going to give you other suggestions that you can try. So in this Facebook post, for example, and you type in one, it's going to recommend others. There are also some hashtag tools on the web that you can try, and we've given you a couple recommendations there on your screen. And finally, we recommend keeping track of the hashtags that you use and analyze them so that you know which are performing best. Yeah. Remember, hashtags are an easy and free way to organically grow your channel. So they're going to help your content get discovered by fresh new eyes who are not already following you. So don't be intimidated by them. It's definitely worth taking the time to learn and use consistently. Katrine?
Yeah, so any questions or any questions? Because we will give the answers. And if you can't come up with them right now, please feel free to reach out. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, and let's look at the upcoming webinars we have.
We'll see you back next month. We are going to talk about email marketing. It's a very effective tool with an ROI of $36 from every dollar spent, and it works as a great complement to social media. They're very effective together to produce results. So we invite you back next month to learn more about that. And here again is our contact information. If you think of something later, please let us know. We encourage you to follow us on YouTube, where we post similar content every month. You've been a great audience, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.